Mercenaries is our new kind of premier addition to the game. We've really put a huge amount of effort into it, and we want to make sure it's an awesome, fun experience. In terms of what it specifically is, it takes a lot of different elements from different games. We're really inspired by our peers and by all the other games out there. We love Hearthstone, and as a team, we play a huge amount of it. But we also play other games too. And we're really inspired by tactical RPGs and by roguelikes. And Mercenaries takes elements from both of these kind of categories. So in terms of the combat and the way it plays out, you have these characters and these heroes, and in terms of how you compare it to Hearthstone, it's almost like having 3 heroes instead of your 1 hero where you play cards. Your heroes have abilities, and you then decide which abilities to use against your opponent, obviously trying to create powerful combos and synergies. And the way you kind of encounter that combat is you progress through a map. And those of you familiar with roguelikes out there, it's kind of a traditional map where you progress through different encounters. Some of them might be combat, some of them might be other things, interesting things to do along the way. The really cool thing about Mercenaries, though, is that the progression is permanent. So when you're going through a mission, you get to keep the experience you've earned or the items that you've earned. So it's really awesome in the fact that you're playing through as you might have these really cool characters like Ragnaros, Jaina, and Illidan in the same team. It's a pretty crazy combination, and there's some even more wild things than that in there. But at the end of it, you'll get to take all the rewards that they've earned home with them and improve them. So, if you struggle and don't complete a level, then maybe the next time you will because your characters have improved.
So you're talking about how you're going through these missions, you're leveling up, you're getting these rewards. Mm-hmm. So is this something that uses your collection at all, or is it completely separate? It's
completely separate. So you're going to have these characters, and they're kind of outside of the normal Hearthstone collection, much like Battlegrounds is outside of normal Hearthstone, and it's kind of its own thing. We really think about Hearthstone as kind of a platform for card games. That's where we've been evolving more towards. And honestly, going back to even before I joined the team, Hearthstone's always kind of been that way a little bit. Like when you think about Arena, Wild, and Standard, and then single-player additions to that as well. They're really almost, there is some interconnectivity, and I think, a good way to look at that right now is the reward track. So when you're thinking about Mercenaries in the future, it's going to link into the reward track. So we want to make sure that however you want to play the game, that is something we're very committed to. However you want to play the game, you're rewarded for what you want to play. And we made big changes to the reward track to adhere for that for Battlegrounds players.
So you're talking a little bit about these different multiplayer game modes and these single-player game modes. Is this a single-player or a multiplayer game mode?
It's a bit of both. There's a lot of single-player in terms of when you think about the ratio of how much you're going to do. The majority of leveling up that you're going to do with your characters and the progression is going to be single-player. But we do want there to be multiplayer in it also. So we really hope it's going to turn out to be highly skill-based battles between players. There's a lot of decision-making. There's definitely less randomness than there is in traditional Hearthstone. There's still going to be some random outcomes. Like you can imagine a character like Ragnaros, his iconic deal 8 damage to a random target, that's probably something we're going to lean into with a character like that. But somebody like Illidan is probably very precise, has a skill which the outcome of it and how it's going to work out.
All right, well, we have characters like Jaina and Illidan and all these in addition to the 10 mercenaries. So there's characters new and old across Warcraft.
Absolutely. So, in terms of the old characters, we've mentioned a few of those already, but another one that's coming is Tyrion Fordring. He's got a really storied history, and he's wielder of one of the most iconic weapons in the game, the Ashbringer. But we also have the mercenaries themselves, and if you look at the Forging the Barons trailer, the star of the show is Rakara. She's awesome, she's this powerful orc warrior, and of course she has the best thing, a cute pet dog.
All right, I'm sold. All right, well, Mercenaries, it sounds awesome. When can we learn more? When can we get our hands on this?
So, we're not quite ready to talk about the dates yet, but we do want to make sure we release Mercenaries later this year. And of course, we're going to be keeping you all up to date with as much information as we can.
Well, that is the final piece of news we have to share with you today, but it's been a lot. Yep. We have the Year of the Griffin coming with Forging the Barons. We have the all-new core set, the classic format. We have updates coming to Duels and Battlegrounds and Book of Heroes, the all-new Book of Mercenaries, and then this new Mercenaries format. There's just a lot going on in Hearthstone this year.
It's a huge amount of stuff. We've been putting a huge amount of effort into making sure there's always new things for you to come and do whenever you want to play Hearthstone. Speaking of which, make sure to log in today to claim your free legendary for Forging the Barons. Shadowhunter Vault, be sure to let us know if you like it.
Man, this has been seriously awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you to the rest of the Hearthstone team for making this all possible.